everybody, Trans Gurus here.
Hi everybody.
We're back with another show, of course, and we got a pretty good topic that we're going to be talking about tonight, and it's called scripted or authentic. Now, I'm sure all of you are, you have your own perspective of what that might mean to you, but we definitely have our own fill of what that means to us. So hear us out, and I would love to pass it on over to Shannon so you can hear the way she feels about that. Go right ahead, Shannon. Let's get right into it.
Hi, Christian and everyone. How's everyone doing this afternoon? So today's topic is authentic or scripted. And I caught wind of this topic last night, and I was thinking about it. Every single person, without exception, every single person who has been born has lived their authentic self. Without exception, every single person who has been born, who has at least took several breaths of air, have lived their authentic life. And that is when we are first born. I think when we are first born, we are a pure soul. And it's for that first, I would say, week or two that we live our authentic self. And then it is from that point on that we begin to learn the structure of society. We begin to be indoctrinated into living in whatever society that we were born into. And then we are continually influenced and guided to behave and live a certain way. And then we fall into the, I don't want to say trap, but we fall into the being programmed as to a human that is literally designed to fit a certain role in our society. And there's a lot of background noise. If we could take care of that, please. So for that first couple weeks, everyone is just a blank slate. They're a pure, unadulterated soul, human being. And then as we live and engage life, we become molded. We become, I don't want to use the word program, but influenced in such a way to become a certain kind of person. And there's a good example of that. If you're born into a family that has a family business, if you're in the family business, so whatever it is, you're going to take up where grandpa left off. And in my own experience, this is very true. I grew up, my parents were very religious and very conservative. In high school, I was on the swim team and the football team, and then I got to go into the Marine Corps and then get a job with a chainsaw, all these things to reinforce what I was taught to believe who I am. And it wasn't until later on in life when I found myself almost in the exact same position that I found myself in when I was born. Maybe 10 years ago, I found myself totally free of any obligation, any predetermined behavior. And I was able to discover myself using my own mind as the basis for taking inventory of myself. And then I was born again as who I am now. So that's how I see it in my reestablishing my authentic self later on in life. It's a different program from being born and then maybe being born again in the eyes of my own soul, where I've actually been able to step back out of myself, look at myself. Who am I actually? Am I actually what my parents wanted me to be, or am I actually what my spirit compels me to be? That's where I am at with this, and this is how I interpret the topic that we're talking about tonight, and I'm sure we'll come back and hash this out some more. Christian.
Right in time. My phone just disconnected, but thank you for that, Shannon. And so I want to kick this right over to I'm going to bring it right over to Bonnie.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, and
I'm just teasing.
I think everybody would love to hear about your rendition of being scripted or authentic.
Well, I'd rather take it one step a little bit even further and say, I am living my authentic life right now. But there's a lot of baggage that I call, which is scripted, not necessarily in a box, but things that are bestowed upon us, a way of thinking, reacting, responding to all these situations. And even though we are living our authentic self, I think we're constantly, not everybody, in my case, I constantly keep discovering things that I wasn't aware of and that I felt a certain way because that's the way I was supposed to feel. And you got to remember, when you're a new computer, your program is basically everything you feed in it. Otherwise, you don't know it. Well, when you're born, you don't really know it. And my situation, like I said, my mother, they sent her to a psychiatrist when I was 6 years old because they accused her of raising me like a girl. So, I mean, all this stuff, guilt that my mother had to deal with and all that stuff. I move forward in life, and I am a result of all the actions that have come my way. And that's part of my authenticity, is because I try to walk what I've lived and live what I walk and stay focused and stay on it. But I keep finding out that this was scripted. I did this because listen, and there's nothing wrong with, just so everybody understands, be who you are and don't worry about the scripted. Don't worry about whether you're inside the box, outside the box. If you're aware and you're in the here and now, you're happy with yourself, you're moving forward, you're making progress. Every single day you make a little progress. Everything else in between is just noise. So yes, there's authenticity and there's scripting and everything in between. And bottom line is, wherever you're at, if you keep on self-discovery, that's why I'm saying in my situation, I keep on figuring myself out more and more and more. As an example, on Facebook, my birthday is January 19th when I had my SRS surgery, but my real birthday is in July. But what I'm saying is, everything is about perspective in life. Everything is about how you put it. So there is no right, there is no wrong. And as long as you're happy, you won. I'm done. Christian, are you there? Can you hear us? We lost Christian. So
Right.
I guess you're next, Ella.
Yeah, I'll carry on. Oh my God, scripted or authentic self? Well, I think it's everybody's right to find oneself. If I look back in my history, yes, I was scripted for a very long time. The expectations, which something we all talking about, the expectations which were on me made me to play a role. So I was scripted. A role that I played probably not as good as I expected, to tell you the truth, because some people actually tell me, you know what, we knew about your transgender already before. Because, well, you can script a lot, but your real authentic self somehow comes out somewhere very strongly. Until the day I said, I want to be authentic. I want to be myself. I want to feel my feelings. I want to live. I want to have fun. And I want to, finally meet my own part, my own body. So I took a decision and I transitioned. Yes, I transitioned. Now, I have to say something. When you transition, in the beginning of the transition, you don't feel completely at home in the beginning. It takes a while until you really are your true self coming out. It takes a lot of work. It really takes a lot of work. Work on yourself, the way you look. Can you imagine? I mean, being an M to F person, so becoming a female, you have to find the way you look, the way you, don't forget, females mostly are judged by the way they look. So if you want to be part of that world, you have to walk the walk and talk the talk. And I mean, it's not everybody's going the same direction. I know that, and it's all right. Everybody's got the right to look the way, but so somehow there's always this thing of finding yourself, of your authentic self is just like a flower opening up, It goes slowly. And everybody has got its own timing. It doesn't have to be faster or less fast. Everybody its own timing. So for me, being my authentic self means to meet someone which I've been living all my life with myself. And finding that person is not a la minute, it doesn't come like this. It takes a while. And some would even say it takes all your life because you're always finding something else new about yourself. I'm just going through a phase which I'm finding new things too, And it's very exciting for me because, it's a constant learning. Never think you know everything because you never do. Go step by step. Enjoy, embrace life, learn because there's so many things to learn about, And there is always days probably which I have to play a role. Of course. It's never black and white. It's always a little bit mixed. Sometimes when I have to go, I am with many, many people. Of course, I have to play a role. So a little bit insinuated. I mean, hey, come on. As a woman, you go to work. You have your working clothes. You go to the beach. You have your beach clothes. It's not the same thing. It's always a little bit of insinuation, a little bit of going around with the other people. But, just be yourself because it's the only thing which is really important for you is you and yourself. I think this is my contribution to this theme. And I don't know. Christian, do you want to say something or?
Yeah, I'll try to say something as long as my phone holds out. I guess I don't know, the connection. But so with being scripted or authentic. I think that there are elements of both that are prevalent in my life. And, I mean, I think everybody wants to say like, oh yeah, like I'm totally authentic. I'm real, right? I'm the real McCoy. I'm the real deal. But
Are you there?
Yeah, Christian's on the road, and I guess he's in a weak cell phone zone.
Raj, go ahead.
Okay, so authentic or scripted, I think all of us can feel like when you come across somebody and they might smile in your face and be nice, but there's just something that doesn't come across authentic about it. Many times, like I'll be, say at the supermarket, and like I'm checking out, and the cashier's being nice to my face, and the bag person's being nice to my face, but like as soon as I turn and walk away, it's almost I can feel the shift of like, them really wanting to be negative, but so it wasn't authentic. And I think for all of us as human beings, we can feel that. We can feel when someone's being authentic or whether they're being scripted. What Shannon said was powerful in the sense that when we're born into life, if you look at children, especially young children before they get into school, they're pure, they're authentic, they're real. They just, say it as it is with no malice per se. And then as we live life, the family units that we're born into, the school that we go to, we're almost forced to like stifle it, to like stifle it, rein it in. Don't be the way you are. You're supposed to be a certain way. And a lot of us are born into family units where our parents have certain expectations and certain goals for you, for us as people, but that might not be what we want to do. And I think that every human being on some level has to come to that crossroad where they make a decision to either be scripted or authentic. Like for instance, with my sister, she wanted to marry my brother-in-law. My dad was against the wedding, but she followed her heart and she did the authentic thing for her against my father's wishes. So that's an example. Or another example would be your mom wanted you to be a doctor and you want to be a baker or you want to be an artist. And so you go and it's either you're going to go and do the doctor thing and be unhappy, or you're going to go become a baker or an artist and be happy with what you're doing because it's your passion. So for us trans people, I think it's on a higher level of authenticity. Like we really have to be committed to our authenticity because there's a lot of naysayers, dealing with any discrimination and just, the challenges that come with being trans. So for me, I would say for the most part, I could never hide who I was. It came through strongly. So that's why I pretty much had to transition when I was young, relatively young, because I couldn't play the role. Like I couldn't play the part of like being the quote unquote man that I was supposed to be. And so I think for the most part throughout my life, I've been authentic. I've had moments, of course, where I've been scripted because I felt forced to, and almost sometimes it felt like survival for me. So, you can't, because life isn't black and white, there's a lot of gray areas. I think it's important to be forgiving to yourself and just learn from a moment. Like if you were scripted and you were sorry that you were scripted instead of being authentic, learn from that. And then the next opportunity, maybe you can be authentic. I'll just close with saying this. To me, one of the most important parts of life is to be able to get to a point where you can truly be authentic. Because it's horrible when you're living in a social prison. That's what I call it. Like when you're doing things because of society and because of family, and you're acting a certain way and you're putting on a certain image because of the outside people, like, and you're disregarding your true feelings, it's like a social prison. So, as hard as my life has been, I'm free. I'm not in the social prison, and there's a liberation, there's a freedom, there's a light feeling with that, there's happiness with that. Ella?
Raj, oh, that's all beautiful words, absolutely beautiful words. And I do think that you're a free spirit. You've been such a incredible, I mean, you are so many people around this world, they look at you as a free spirit and someone which has suffered but gone through a lot and being very much open. So
yeah, what Raji was saying is it is very powerful that when we are, and not everyone achieves the state of scripting their own life, so like the connotation of our topic is authentic or scripted, meaning implying that someone else is penning in the words of the pages of our book, and then we all reach a point of self-discovery and manage and control our lives in such a way that we now have the ink pen. We now pen the words of our life on the pages of our book. And that is, that's known as authenticity, when we write our own script, not follow and that's another thing too that would be another topic, is to how does that phrase go? The drummer that beats his own drum, or you're the drummer that goes, the person that just blaze your own trail, so to speak.
You march to the own beat of your drum.
Perfect. Thank you. We march to the beat of our own drum, or blaze our own trail, and it takes it's a process to achieve that level of self, to be able to do that. And I think one of the main reasons why all of us get together every week to produce these videos is to help not only each other and ourselves, but the entire trans community and the general population, to help all people evolve to the point of self-discovery, and then to the point of self-actualization, which is what we spoke about last week.
Absolutely.
Ella.
Absolutely. Christian, you think your cover is stable now, that we can actually hear something from you?
I'm trying all these different spots.
No, you have installed sort of technical problems. I hope now it works. Okay.
Yeah, hopefully. But like I was trying to say earlier, I'll try to keep it short and brief. I think there's elements in my life where there's time to be scripted and time to be authentic. Sometimes, you gotta recognize. Well, sometimes I've had to recognize, script for what it is, and maybe it's a uniform that I'm putting on, and I have to learn a certain SOP, standard of operation. And sometimes certain standard of operations are kind of complex, and you're not really sure, where your personality fits into it all. Like when I was first transitioning, the standard of operation for generally what is a role of a man, role of a woman, there's certain things in this society that our mind immediately goes towards. When I think about my role as a man, you know, in the beginning of it, and I was trying to learn it, there was a certain standard of operation that, you know, like was kind of like scripted in a way, because I wasn't totally, you know, full force comfortable with myself yet. I wasn't totally developed. I wasn't totally mature. I had a long way to go before I could genuinely embrace being authentic within that role. And that transcends almost every aspect of life. Like how Ella was saying, you know, you go to a job and you can't totally be your authentic self right there and then and show every single person who you are, you know, because what if you disagree with something that somebody said, and then, you know, you say something about it, and then I don't know, you might just jeopardize your job for being, you know, a little outspoken when it wasn't your place to do so, or not your authority to do so. So we have to, I don't know, there's a time and place to choose that role of being totally authentic and totally, I mean, not totally scripted, but I think as we continue to go into different situations, especially for myself, I go outside my comfort zone slowly but surely. And sometimes I get thrown into situations I'm not totally comfortable or satisfied with in the beginning, but I lean into it and I embrace it. And sometimes it's good to embrace the suck of these moments that the scripted, you know, pulls out of us. And the contrast of these scripted moments where we're not totally ourselves, it allows us to distinguish, to put a finger on that fuzzy feeling of like what we really want. Especially for me, when I go in those moments, I'm not really happy with being scripted, but there is a use for it, and I don't mind it now. You know, especially, you know, I have a new job, and in the beginning it wasn't so easy because I was out of my comfort zone. I was a little you know, off. I wouldn't say totally off balance, but with a lot of things being thrown at you, you get a little off balance, and you have to relearn how to get your footing again. And by you doing that, then along the way, you get stronger, you get smarter, you learn tactics, and then I start to sprinkle in some of my authenticity, and slowly but surely keep on adding and adding to that in all the areas that I can, and being intelligent about how far I can go into that, play that in that surroundings, you know. So I don't want to live somebody else's script, but if my job requires me to be a certain way when I go and deal with the people that I'm serving, then there's a certain script that I have to uphold, and that's just the way it is. But along the way, I can kind of customize it. Once I master that script, that standard of operation, I master it, and then I can personalize it. You know, you don't get a custom Ferrari with flames on the side out the room. You know, you have to, you know, kind of figure out and feel out how you want to customize your car, what kind of little, you know, cool things you want to put on it, a muffler or something, you know, noise maker. You know, whatever you're trying to do, you know, with all those turbos and stuff, it doesn't come like that right out the car room. So when we get that thing, it's basic, and it's maybe it's boring, maybe the seats are uncomfortable, but you buy those sheepskin sheets and seats and deck it out as you slowly go forward. And I think it's good that we don't just automatically know what to do, because then there would be, where's the challenge in that? Where's the lessons in that? Being trans is no exception. There's a lot of lessons that come as we slowly are able to digest this big entree, this big meal, this big journey that we're on.
And
So,
thank God we're on this journey. Otherwise, we would have just been some closed-minded rednecks. Just let everybody know.
It's called learning, being better, and you know, going through another phase, which is evolution. You know.
so that's what I have to say about being scripted and being authentic. I think there's nothing wrong with it. Some people might say, "Oh, you're being fake. It's superficial. It's shallow." I don't know. I mean, it exists, right? So there's a balance that needs to be had. Otherwise, if we were always authentic, every single moment of all, then we would try so hard to almost dominate with our authenticity that we would be unwilling to hear other people's authenticity because it would clash. We have to be able to yield. Does that make any sense? Or like, go ahead, Bonnie. Do you have something to say?
That makes a lot of sense. I was just going to say, quoting something from Wayne Dyer, he said, you get on an airplane and you get all mad because you had to wait, you had to pay for your baggage, and then it's hot, and then you had to go here, and then it's been forever, and then you sit down and you take it out on the wait on the stewardess, and she hasn't even done anything, but you're mad at the airlines. She works for the airlines, and people are getting mad at her. But the reality of it is they're mad at the uniform. They're not mad at that person. They just were mad at the airlines, and it was directed. Well, it's the same thing between being scripted and authentic. Sometimes if you're wearing a uniform, that you have to do what the uniform requires, like a stewardess. It's got nothing to do with authenticity in the sense that, yes, how she dresses and all the other stuff. But what I'm saying, as far as that uniform is what people see, not necessarily the person behind the uniform. And that's in a lot of different things. And that fits real well into authenticity as well as scripted, because depending on where you're doing and what you're doing in life, some of it, if it's your job, will be scripted to a degree, and otherwise. That's all. I just was babbling. Sorry.
Hey, with sometimes people are scripted with interaction socially, because maybe they don't totally know how to communicate, because that's something that I had issues with, growing up. And sometimes you go on those sites and you're trying to educate yourself on how to be more charismatic and stuff like that. And like, for example, like those guys that go out and they try to say, like, to a girl, like, oh, did you fall from heaven? Are you an angel? Because you must have fell from heaven, something like that, when they're trying to do a pickup line. And you can obviously tell, everybody here has obviously been told that line, but you can obviously tell that guy was a little scripted. It wasn't like totally his own thing. But as they continue to learn better tactics and grow within themselves and develop themselves, then they start to get more suave, more smooth, more in tune with themselves and their own style, their own swagger. And then they start to be more real within that category of life. So within that area of life. And then it's no longer jerky, or, it's got a flow to it. But at the beginning, nothing's going to be smooth or seamless. There's a learning curve. So I think that's what maybe being scripted is. It's just a learning curve, almost like an actor. You first get the script and you don't know what the hell the next line is, but if you keep going over it, by the time it's time for the play to go off, you watch them in the audience, and you see them on the stage, and they're going and doing their thing, and they're all in it, and oh my God, it's an incredible show. It's an incredible theatrical show, because they embodied it. Now they were able to personalize that script so well. Just like a movie that you watch, you get emotional because that person is able to sell it, their authenticity.
Absolutely.
So that's what I have to say. I can keep going on with all these metaphors and similes and all that, but I don't want to bore you to death. But thank you so much for hearing out, and thank you for the universe for keeping this connection while I was able to talk.
And watch our videos on YouTube as well as Facebook. Leave messages. And if you want us to talk about certain topics, put it in there. Let us know. Send us a message, and we'll more than gladly do it.
Yeah, and drop a comment like what are your thoughts about this as you're watching this? Like, what kind of thoughts come up about your own life?
Yep.
You know, there's other people just like you out there. You know, we're up here and we're doing it, but
We'll be
nice to
very
hear
glad
from
to
everybody
meet you.
out there.
And everything can be done in increments. I'm just going to tell something real quick. I met with a doctor that I've known for 30 years, blah, blah, blah. And he was asking about the trans community. And I gave him 2 pieces of advice. Number one, that if one of your patients comes in and you're not sure, because he's a little confused how to handle transgender people, I said, just ask them what their pronouns are. And immediately you've reported that person and they feel like, wow, this is a person that cares. And then if you misgender them, just apologize and correct yourself and keep moving. Don't get hung up on it or spend energy. And they'll appreciate that too. Just 2 little things that he hadn't thought about that I shared with him that maybe can make a big difference in many people's interactions with the doctor, because it doesn't always go good with doctors. That's all.
Yep. So, any other comments, crew? Jimmy, you wanted to say something?
No, not really. But getting back to what Christian was saying, I do believe myself as a transgender human. I think part of my job as a member of society is to break barriers. And I think when people see someone who is for real and who has the wherewithal and the fortitude to be themselves, it subconsciously allows others to do the same. So transgender people, we are many things, which include, I do believe that in one way or another, we're all human lighthouses that show the light for others and allow the opportunity for others to light their own path. Ella.
Absolutely.
You know, I just want to say something. It's funny what you just said, Shannon. I have heard that from people that send me messages from all over. They'll say, thank you for being you. You've allowed me to be myself. And, you know, you saying that, like, it really resonates. All it means is they see someone else that's being authentic, and it's almost like it gives them permission, you know, or encourages them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Breaking preconceived barriers.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And I hope that we actually, to tell you the truth, I think that we hope with Transgurus, we are helping our followers and our friends to, you know, to go through their barriers, to discover the new world. And I know that it is not easy, and some of them are having a hell of a lot of trouble, mainly in certain areas of the world. I mean, it opened my eyes a little bit for many things. Like, for example, in England, in the UK, which is a really great country, it takes almost 3 to 5 years to get to a doctor to get HRT. So it's really, unfortunately, not ideal everywhere. But you know, keep hoping, keep working on it, because you have the right.
And there's never failure. There's only opportunity to learn. So if you do something that doesn't come out right, what you do it next time, you do it different. And if it doesn't come out right, you do it different. Eventually you'll get it.
Absolutely.
That's the way it works.
Very important. That is very important. Don't give up. Fight. Be yourself. Your authentic self.
Amen.
That's
Okay. Bye, everybody. See you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for everything. Bye.
Go out there and make all the mistakes and enjoy every second of it.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all. Love you.
Bye.